Breathe in and breathe out. Did you know that indoor air you breathe could be up to 5 times more polluted than outdoor air? Fresh Air Matters specializes in helping you create a healthy indoor environment by cleaning the air you breathe. They offer local plans and services that include air filter replacement plans, air duct cleaning, and many more. Go to freshairmatters.com, call or text 469-469-1852 to learn more about cleaning your indoor air. That's freshairmatters.com or 469-469-1852. Tell Steven you heard about Fresh Air Matters from the Back in the Day podcast to receive a special discount on air duct cleaning, air purifiers, and more. Again, tell them that you heard about it from Back in the Day podcast. Welcome to the season finale of season 4 of the Back in the Day podcast. This week joining me is Kevin KT Turner from the Downbeat. You can hear him 6 to 10 weekdays on 97.1 The Freak. Kevin and I have a ton of fun. You might remember him from season 2. We talk about Taylor Swift a lot, which that got interesting. We talk about the Super Bowl. We talk about what his career has kind of been up to since the last time he was on the show. And of course, we touch on his stories from back in the day. Hope you guys enjoy.
Hey, are you talking about back in the day?
Nah, man. I'm talking about back in the day.
Back in the day. Back in the day. Back in the day. Back in the day.
Joining me today on the Back in the Day podcast, you can hear him from 6 to 10 a.m. weekdays on 97.1 The Freak on the Downbeat is Mr. KT Kevin Turner. What's up, dude?
Good morning. No, when are we doing this?
It's nighttime.
All right.
Look at you up and Adam at nighttime, and you're going to be back tomorrow morning.
Yeah.
Ready to talk some more.
This is good because it reminded me that I used to be a night owl. I'm not anymore. So
Not
this
at
is
all.
good to be out. It's only 8 o'clock. I don't know why I'm acting like it's midnight.
How is that? So you've now been doing mornings for like what, a year and a half ish now?
Yeah.
And has it just changed your whole personality? Are you always just the guy that's like, well, I gotta get up early, guys, so I gotta go in?
Yes, I'm a bummer. I don't go out anymore, and it's hard to line it up because it also is about the same time I started living with my now fiance.
Congratulations.
So, thank you. So like when you start living with together like all the time, you're kind of home. The going out and even meeting a friend, it's just not really happening anymore. Your friend is now the woman you live with.
Absolutely. She's your friend. She's your girlfriend. She's your wife. She's your buddy. She's your everything, because there's no more. You got to check, you got to be respectful of everyone's schedules.
And she's the person that pays for Netflix and chooses. And then you can just kind of decide if you want to get on your phone or not.
Yeah, and just like, I'm not watching this. What's the show on Netflix that she watches that you have to sit through and be like, God, I can't believe I'm watching this.
See, here's the thing. I actually do run the show.
Do
when
you?
it comes to that type of stuff, I actually do run the TV show. I was
Nice.
kind of playing that card for a minute, but we kind of do watch what I want to watch 95% of the time.
When my wife and I first got married, so maybe like the first 2 years that we were married, this is back when Netflix still had the DVDs. So,
wow.
so do you remember like when you would
The
go?
40s!
Yeah, a long time ago. Remember you go in there and you could set up like what you wanted to watch, and then they'd send it to you, and you like rank them in order. Like I want this one on this day and this one. Do you remember that?
I don't remember that.
Okay, well that's how
I never took part in that.
Okay, well that's what it was. All right. So
How old are you? I thought we were pretty close.
I'm 38.
I'm 36.
Yeah, so that was how it was. Well, she was the hookup. It was her Netflix account.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And so during football season, because she likes college sports, Texas Tech girl, and
Man.
but she was never a big NFL fan. So during football season, the compromise that we had was that you control the Netflix.
Mm-hmm.
You control the Netflix. I'm going to watch a lot of football, so you get to pick what DVDs come.
Yeah.
For that 4 months.
I get Sundays. You get Netflix.
You get
That's
the
a good
Netflix.
trade.
It was a great trade.
And I mean, honestly, we watch a lot of the same stuff, and that becomes the thing of, hey, I really want to keep up on this thing. Are we going to watch this together? Because you don't want to get too far. Like, you can't get ahead. Like, if you're watching something together,
Yeah.
but then you have to both be on the same schedule. We're not on the same schedule
No.
just because she works a 9 to 5 or 8 to 5 or whatever, and I work a
6 to whatever.
God knows what time I work, honestly.
What's funny is, we watch, we do the show thing. That's what couples do. But I'm a fall asleep person during shows. So my poor wife has to wait for me to like rewatch it. And then
I'm a fall asleep person pretty much all the time. Like during dinner, I mean, it's kind of like I'm folding towels I just took out of the laundry. Yes, I fell asleep. I'm sorry. I have narcolepsy. I can't control it. Like, it's a tough disease to have. But it's hard to sit on the couch and like keep going. Like, this thing better be really interesting to keep my attention. Otherwise, it's really easy
you have
to
a
go to sleep.
condition.
Well, yeah.
And so it better be a really good show.
And it's like, the thing is, though, if your condition is something that takes you to a place that's already pleasant, I mean, who doesn't love good sleep?
Oh, I'll crush a nap anywhere I can go. I've slept through some really good things. I've slept, I don't know how many movies I've been to at the movie theater where I've fallen asleep.
Oh, yeah.
Do you know the podcast Armchair Expert?
Yes.
They came live, fell asleep twice during it. I mean, it was great. I had a great time there. My wife and I had a great time. I fell asleep twice. The Lion King at the musical, fell asleep. Fell asleep during a little bit of that.
I fell asleep during the big Avengers one, which I still get confused with Endgame and Infinity War.
I haven't seen any of them.
I'd only seen that one.
And
so
slept it through
maybe
it,
that's
too?
why I missed like 20 minutes of it. But maybe if I cared about the storylines a little more, then maybe I would have been in. But it was like a big one with a big scene, and there was a lot of build up to it.
Did you make it through the
out.
Super Bowl last night?
I made it, but I slept in a little bit, as much as you can, with getting your daily duties done, and then I still went to bed at the game ends early. See, the Super Bowl starts early, kind of ends at 9:30.
Yeah,
if you're in a good spot, I stayed home, laid low, and didn't drink or anything crazy, and still. It's 11 or 11:30, and I'm like, why didn't I go to bed an hour and a half ago?
Yeah, cool. Because you're kind of wired from it. It was a good ending.
And it was just stuffed with wings and pizza.
Yeah, and it was. I think the biggest thing for the Super Bowl for me was J.J. Watt's hair.
That was insane.
Wasn't that just nuts?
I mean, I can't talk. My hair looks crazy
but you had a
right
beanie
now.
on. I mean, this guy had this is on national. This is CBS. He's got a whole hair and makeup team for him, and that's what he went with.
That was wild.
I thought, like, when they put him on there, I was like, oh, the Simple Plan lead singer got buff.
He did look like an emo rock dude from the 2000s.
Like, what?
He looked like a guy who'd been wearing a helmet his whole career. Like,
yeah. Well, he was like, I'm finally on. I don't have to have this helmet on anymore. I'm going to make a bold statement tonight.
And it was very odd. And it was like his first year of doing the Super Bowl, too. He's
They're
like,
not
hey,
bringing...
I'm here to stay.
Yeah, they can't bring him back.
CBS like, well, your contract ran out, buddy.
Yeah. I just thought it was just interesting because he's around our age, right? He's probably early 30s, mid 30s. I'm late 30s now. But yeah, so that definitely was a hairstyle that was popular for him, and he probably just missed it because most of his life's been a helmet on or hat on. And he's like, I got to bring the tips out, and I'm wearing the messy, spiky look too.
And I think that NFL players can't be cultured is not the word, but I don't know if they're always up to date on all the stuff in the moment. When you're a guy like J.J. Watt, who's known to be like, all I do is like lift weights and eat footballs.
Yeah, and flip tires.
He missed the whole like craze of whatever that hairstyle was in 2004.
Yeah.
He missed all that.
He's probably just now watching TRL.
He's catching up.
Yeah.
He's like, catching up on Life in Reverse.
He's like, y'all heard of this Carson Daly guy?
He's like, man, I love the soup. I'm learning of all the reality TV shows. This is great.
Oh gosh!
Simon Cowell, have you heard of him? Yeah, JJ.
Yeah, we've heard Jay. He's been around for a while.
Sorry,
JJ.
guys, I was busy making millions of dollars,
sacking every quarterback. So you've moved on to last time you were on. You were still on Bin and Skin.
Was I?
Yeah. So I mean, it's been like almost 3 years since you've been on the podcast.
Dang.
How's it feel to be? For those of you guys that don't know what Bin and Skin is or who KT is. KT was on a show called Bin and Skin. You started off as a producer, correct?
Yeah, I think that was like technically the job title. Sure, yeah.
And then when y'all moved over to the Eagle,
yeah,
was that like a co-host?
I went out of my way to change the verbiage on the title of the job to newsman, just because it might. Because if you're a producer, they almost like there's like a radio's weird. And there's a reason radio is dying because they refuse to keep up with the times, but they like to just peg you as that's what you are. If you don't put a name on something, then they'll pay you like that. So I was like, okay, if we do this and I go over to the Eagle, then let's get rid of producer and then add newsman. Just sounds like a official thing. It's totally made up.
Yeah, well, I understand that. That's like with any industry, right?
Yeah.
If you get pegged in a certain thing, they pay that certain title, a certain wage, and that's what they're known for. And if you get stuck in that thing, you're pigeonholed.
So just change your title. If you're listening and you're just working an office job and they have your nameplate outside the door, just write something above it.
That's what I would do.
Just chisel something above it on the nameplate. Because I guess on nameplates you wouldn't write it. I don't really know how office jobs work. I've never.
Well, I've seen
one.
y'all's cubicle area at the station, and y'all got those nameplates. It's the exact same thing.
We do. You're right.
Yeah, you got your nameplates on your little cubicles, so it's the same exact thing.
That's weird. Yeah, I didn't think about it that way.
They could just order their own from Office Depot or whatever. I'm sure there's definitely an Etsy shop that probably makes them.
Make yourself a new title. I think that's my advice to everyone in 2024.
New title.
Change your title.
Be whatever you want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dare
So
to dream.
how has it been? Because this is now your first full-time, like your show. I mean, obviously you got other hosts on the show.
Sure.
But what's kind of been the change for you on that? Like, are there different responsibilities, more responsibilities?
Well, it's been weird because like the station, the Freak launched in October of 22, and it was me and Jeff Kavanaugh and Julie Dobbs in the morning at the time, and that's who you think you're working with, and you're doing the show, and it's a little different when it's the Ben and Skin show. Ben and Skin are going to be the stars of the show, and you kind of understand that, and you just kind of add in and help them in whatever way. The way the Freak was kind of going with me, Jeff, and Julie. We kind of worked it out like, hey, Jeff's going to get this segment. I'm going to get this segment. Jeff's going to get this segment. I'll get this segment. Julie gets this segment. And then we just kind of spread it out that way. And it was more of you're responsible for your own 20-minute chunk.
Mm-hmm.
And then, you're going to be responsible for another 20-minute chunk. Be ready, but also have some structure to it, whether that's sports or news or whatever we're trying to get accomplished that day. And then I think that's like my first time that I kind of realized that I probably wasn't doing as good a job as I could have done presenting stories, even coming up with topics on the Ben and Skin show.
Why do you think that?
Because there's something about your name being on it that you just take it up a notch, which sounds terrible because it shouldn't be that way. But it's something that I don't know why. I just realized that, like, I would pull up a link and just start reading a story, and now I was almost like, okay, read the whole story, really get it down, and then let's maybe just write some of this here and kind of rewrite it, add a little creative twist to it. Just a small thing, not all the time, but just like on some stories, like I would just be more familiar with the stories when I would present them than when I was just blah 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 blah. Ben and Skin go,
Yeah, because it was you were more there to set them up.
Yeah,
and add like color to different topics and stuff like that. But
Absolutely.
It wasn't what you weren't. Maybe they gave because you had segments on their show where you were running that segment, correct?
Yeah, and my job of producing has not changed because we don't have technically producers at the station. At the Freak now, it's kind of you are the producer and the host, and maybe that's where radio's going. I think a lot of your generic sports talk type things that are like national. Yeah, okay, it's one guy, maybe a former athlete, and then they have a producer setting them up. Maybe you have a lot of that. But this is different. Like the show now, when we switched in July to me, Mike Soroy, Danny Bayless, it's you guys, same thing. It's the same. And Jeff and Julie are doing the same thing with Mike Reiner in the afternoons, where it's just like, you guys are the producer. You guys are the ones who are finding the content, which I will always do that anyways. And most radio hosts do that anyways too. But a producer supplements that. My biggest comparison, and this is not, I don't want anyone to take this as a shot because it's not. I have ultimate respect for the ticket, everything they've accomplished. But it was insane for me going up as a part-timer, going up there. I started out doing overnights there, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m., running a board. Their producer for their morning show gets there at 2. His name was Fernando, and he just retired. So he gets there at 2. So, when Junior and George and Gordon come in, they have some stuff already. Now, they have already prepared their own stuff. Do not get me wrong there, please, because they have. But, like, it's wild. Gordon sits down, and he's got a stack of papers that have been printed out from the producer who was working more of a 2 a.m. to 10 a.m. live.
Because what time is their show on?
5:30 to 10.
So he's there 3.5 hours before the show starts.
Yeah.
Giving them prep, like here's kind of a run, giving them kind of a run sheet, even though they might already have a run sheet.
Sure. And we just don't have that luxury, you know? And first of all, Fernando, who is their producer, is one of a kind and great. And those guys are great on their own. And you just combine greatness all together. Okay, yeah, no wonder they're one of the greatest radio shows that's ever lived.
Yeah.
And then here I am competing against it and going, God, how are y'all getting 12s? And how are y'all kicking our ass all the time? And we're just like fighting to stay alive.
You don't have a Fernando.
We don't have a Fernando, and that's the key.
You got to find a
Fernando.
Everyone needs a Fernando.
Well, that's the thing. Maybe I'm the Fernando, and I'm just masked as a host.
Well, you're gonna have to start getting there at 1:30.
Oh no!
Yeah, Fernando's getting there at 2. You get there at 1:30.
I'm going to the station right after this podcast. We're gonna get going on tomorrow's show.
But I get what you're saying. Like bringing it back to what you're saying. Like now that your name is on the show, you've kind of like changed it up a bit, or you go a little bit deeper. I do the same thing too if I'm like headlining a show.
Yeah.
If it's the show that I'm headlining, there's like a different pressure.
Sure.
I want to make sure there's a much bigger crowd. I want to pay attention to that. I'm going to maybe do some different bits that I don't normally do when I'm, featuring or hosting or anything like that. So it makes sense. Your name is on it.
And I think it might just be human nature, but there's a part of me that I am still, and then this is just me being hard on myself always. It's like, why were you you didn't do as much as you could? And I was like, I kind of did do as much as I could,
Yeah.
back in the day. But like now I truly am. And some people are different. Some people, like for instance, Danny Bayless, who I work with, like he gets there super early because he prefers to look for the stuff that he's going to do in one of his segments. He prefers to just go find it all in the morning. Like, it's what he prefers to do. I'm like, I'm going to find all this crap before I go to bed. And I'm not going to do it like 4 or 5 p.m. either, which would make the most sense. And then I drive my fiance crazy because I'm like working with the laptop on my crotch until it's time to go to bed. But I want the latest stuff, and I don't want to do it at 4:45 a.m. I want to, I want to get there at 5:15 and then start working on stuff,
Do you run segment ideas by her?
No. Should I?
I don't know.
She's up to date on TikTok and stuff, which I'm not.
You don't do TikTok? You don't?
I mean, I have it, but I'm not. I don't scroll it, and I don't even want to take the chance of getting addicted to it.
It's addicting, but it's creepy of how much it knows what you're doing.
Yeah.
Like, you ever seen the show One Tree Hill?
No, that's going to be a blind spot for me, but I'm aware of it. And I know the heart and the dog.
Yeah, the dog.
Yeah. The dad
Big
is a creepy guy, apparently.
Little, kind of an asshole.
Yeah.
But anyways, it's from our youth.
Sure.
It came out in like 2003. It was our high school time. I've gone back and rewatched it.
I'm currently the OC right now.
Yeah,
so.
I'm probably gonna hit that next. I love a good high school teen drama that took place when I was a teen.
Yeah,
I love those.
I was like, did I watch this with my parents? I don't know.
Probably not.
In the house though, while I was watching that.
But I've gone back to watch that, and that's like what my entire TikTok is right now. It's just like fan clips of One Tree Hill. No, so I was like, how do y'all know TikTok that I'm watching One Tree Hill right now?
Do you know the thing like where you haven't said this thing out loud, but you've thought it, and it shows up on your phone?
Yes.
And then also, about 10 minutes later, you think about it again, and you can start to go down like, that really was creepy. And then you realize you can't do anything about it, and you just move on to the next thing you were thinking about.
They know you better
They
than
know us.
They know us better than we know ourselves.
It's really scary.
Yeah.
It's really terrible. I think I hate technology. I think I do, and I'm not. That's God. You know what? I wouldn't have said that when I was 26, and I'm saying it when I'm 36. But I'm also like, I am very fearful of radio dying. Like, I'm worried about that.
You think like it? How long do you think it? I mean, I don't think it'll die, right? You think it will change? It'll probably shift to changing.
It'll change, right? It'll change. I fear because I always wanted to do it in a way that you have, a big team, And I fear them, like companies not wanting to pay 10 people to do jobs, much less 20 people, which is needed. I fear that because it's much easier to say, let's go play music or let's play this syndicated thing. And, it's just tough. And I know it's a terrible career path to choose. That's the problem. Maybe that's the issue. But the internet, it has all these endless possibilities. And then the celebrities said, you know what? We can podcast too.
I know.
And then they took it all. And it's like, you guys have everything already.
Why are you podcasting?
Oh,
Friggin' like some of the people that podcast, like I like Shameless pod. Is that what it's called?
Smartless.
Smartless, yeah. I think it's a good podcast, but it's like, why do y'all need a podcast? Like each one of you are super. That's
It starts and then it gets popular and it becomes the most popular thing ever, and then they profit off of it. And I love it too. And guess what? I listen to all the podcasts I listen to. I was thinking about this the other day as I was going on this little tangent. I was like, well, I'm kind of part of the problem too because all the podcasts I listen to are of celebrities.
Yeah, of course, because who wants to listen to
I know,
me, right? Like, exactly. Why would you listen to me when you can listen to...
And that's already a complex I deal with, that thinking no one wants to listen to me.
One of the most common reasons for poor indoor air quality and HVAC malfunction is restricted airflow and poor air circulation caused by the failure to replace the air filters. When was the last time you replaced your air filters? Do you own rental property? Are you tired of climbing into your attic to replace your air filters? With Fresh Air Matters air filter replacement plans, you won't have to worry about replacing your air filters again. They provide the filters, they replace them for you, and they clean your return vents on the same day, same time, every 30 to 90 days. Go to freshairmatters.com or contact Steven at 469-469-1852 to schedule your air filter replacements plan or any other local IAQ services. Oh, yeah, it's definitely interesting. Well, because, that's kind of everything is changing. Even the trajectory of like how to make it in like the comedy world.
Sure.
Right? Like it used to be do stand up, be really good at it, get a sitcom. That's how you'll make a lot of money, or be a really good comedian, get movies.
Yeah.
Now you don't need any of that. If you have like a good podcast or you have a good like
catchphrase,
clip, good clip on, like, I mean, seriously. And then now your clip alone, it's not one clip, but a handful of clips that have done really, really well.
Yeah.
Now you're selling out everywhere and you can make a living. You don't have to go and do all this other stuff.
I've talked to our buddy Paul Varghese about this. Like this YouTube, you can, the way you enter your clip to post online, however you title it, could be the difference in millions of views, which in turn could mean money.
Yeah.
It's like based on how you title your clip.
It's nuts.
And I'm not even talking about even hashtags.
I honestly think hashtags are played out now.
Yeah,
I've heard that you're not supposed to put hashtags on it. I don't know how. I don't think anyone actually knows how it works.
And they changed the algorithms, so defeating them is defeating a moving target.
Yeah.
That's all growing faster than we can even comprehend.
No, like we said, they know what we're thinking before we've even thought it.
And everything we're talking about sounds really morbid, but it's just what's happening.
But look at us just choosing to do it, though. You're doing radio, I'm doing it's like
we have to, right?
Yeah, you have to do it. Or
I mean, I love my job so much, so I don't want to ever lose that because I would go insane, I think.
Well, hey, speaking of comedy,
yeah.
the last time you were on the show, you did your first ever comedy set.
Yeah, it had 5 minutes.
You did longer than 5 minutes.
It actually went longer because I rambled.
How did you think it went? I'll tell you my opinion. You tell me how you thought it went.
I mean, yeah, and I'm going to mention Paul Varghese again because we can all name drop Paul Varghese. Remember that, everyone. Just act like you know Paul Varghese.
Paul from season 1.
Yeah,
from season 1 of the Back in the Day podcast.
Look, I had the advantage of a home crowd, and so it went well for me when they were chanting my name
before you even got on. As you're walking on stage.
But I did respect. I told you this. I respect the craft and what you do enough to like not go up there and wing it. I wasn't going to go up there and just not have a plan. Like I did try to structure.
You had bits. I mean, you had jokes.
I had ideas, yeah, but they were not as tight as they could have been.
It was your first time to do it.
Yeah.
Of course, it's not going to be some tight like bang, bang, bang. But you commanded the stage. You're up there pacing.
Yeah, it was, for me, it was a situation. It's always something I've kind of secretly wanted to do. It's kind of like the adrenaline of karaoke.
Mm-hmm.
And after I conquered karaoke, I was like, let's
Conquer.
But
After I defeated karaoke.
yeah, that's going away too. But the thing is, I did it because Ben and Skin asked me to and said it would help the client. And so that might have, I'm not sure if that client's still on the air or not. I don't know. But then it was a thing too where we were able to parlay it into someone would get punished at the station and have to do it too. So I could hey, I'll do it with you, man. So come on. It ended up being Strip Mall Steve, who's on the Ben and Skin show, who had to do 5 minutes as well. I think he had to do 10 minutes.
He had to do 10, which was brave.
Yes.
For the first time to ever do comedy. I think it definitely helped that 95% of the crowd were listeners.
Yeah.
So that was
the only thing that saved me.
I don't know.
And this is another regret, right? Cool human experiment. I should have tried to go do it at an open mic just to see.
You still can.
I know, but I don't want to.
I mean,
it's terrifying.
I think don't you live pretty close to Backdoor?
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
Thursday nights.
If I get fired, maybe I'll start doing that. Let's start kicking around the
Thursday nights open mic, or you can come out to Rollertown sometimes and do a set if you want to.
Again, home crowd.
But not. I will say this: the crowd has. I mean, if we plugged that you were going to be there, you would get the home crowd. Mm-hmm. But I would say over the last 6-ish months, it's built more of a crowd that's not just Ben and Skin listeners.
Yeah, which is good. And that's the idea.
At first, that's kind of what it was at first. Like the first maybe 6 months that we were doing it, it was just people that came because they heard about it on the radio.
Yeah.
But it's turned into more where it's like local people from around Salina and the neighboring cities around there that come out to the show.
Wait till they move it to Frisco.
I know. It's going to be nuts.
They're going to make money.
It's going to be good. It's going to be good out there in that little spot.
I need to find a way to make Ben and Skin owe me some money.
I thought your set went well.
Oh,
I thought that you and Steve both had really good sets. I knew that it would be fine. I knew it wasn't going to be bad. I mean, both y'all were better than Paul.
No, we weren't.
No, Paul had a really good, really strong.
Paul destroyed that night, of course.
Paul had a really
you
strong
did too.
set that night.
I mean, it was fun though.
Yeah.
It was wild because I went on and I thought I was just going to be going first. So I was going to
I thought you were hosting.
I did too. I did too. I thought I was going to kind of go back and forth and bring everyone on and do. So I had it in my head spread out. 30 minutes before I went on, I was like, okay, I'm gonna have to combine all these ideas into one, 5-minute thing on the fly. I went to the bathroom and had a pen and I started writing on my hand a couple things, which I didn't want to cheat either, but it's I did need to remember. I had 4 or 5 loose ideas, kind of knew the order I wanted to take them in, but then they had a real comedian going up, Barry
Whitewater.
Barry Whitewater. So he goes up first, and I was like, hold on, I didn't know I was going on after real comedians. I thought I was just going to go on before, and then the comedians will come dominate. But it was great because then the crowd started cheering, and it went up. And when it's time to go, I can turn into a tornado.
I think you did great. I mean, you were at Rollertown the night that we had that guy that had won his lost his fantasy football league and had to do stand up. Yeah, that guy destroyed.
Yeah. He just wouldn't leave the stage.
Yeah,
he was great.
He did great. He had never done comedy before. There's different fantasy football leagues for listeners that don't know this that will do if you get last place, there's a punishment. It's to keep people engaged the entire season, right?
Yeah.
And so a lot of them will do. You have to go out and do stand up comedy for And so this guy. Who was it? Was it Brendan?
Brendan, yeah. Formerly the Ben and Skin show from years past.
It was his fantasy football league, so he hit up Ben and was like, hey, could we have this guy come do stuff? So they hit me up, and I was like, yeah, absolutely. So normally when I do that show at Rollertown, I'll go up and I do 7 to 10 minutes to warm the crowd up, and then I turn the show over and to other comics. But I decided to we wanted to make it as brutally as bad for him as possible. I just came in there and introed him and made him go to a cold crowd, all this to make it harder. But he destroyed.
He had just enough big Germans from Rollertown to get
But it wasn't even that his buddies were laughing. Like, everyone was laughing.
Yeah, it was great.
The headliner on the show tried to buy a joke from him. Like, he was like, came after him. Afterwards, he was like, are you going to be doing, are you wanting to do stand-up? He goes, absolutely not. He goes, can I buy that Taco Bell bit from you? And the guy was like, sure, if you
I'll
want
take
to.
the money.
Yeah.
I'm never going to do it again.
So, yeah, I mean, if you want to do comedy again, you come out to Rollertown or just go. There's tons of open mics around you that you could go up there and do that. I'm sure you have that set written down somewhere.
I don't. I have it saved because I recorded it just to play it back on radio.
Well, there you go.
Know? So, I mean, it's on there kind of, but the thing, I don't want to do it again because I think if you go out undefeated and untied, like, I feel good about that. Because, man, the bombing thing, I do not handle rejection well, and I feel like that would tear me up.
Yeah, I don't think any of us do. People that are wanting to do comedy or wanting to do a job to where it's to please other people is basically what you're doing when you're doing a job like that and you're putting yourself out there.
Yeah.
None of them actually can handle rejection, but yet we're just gluttons for it. We just keep going there and getting beat up. Because I'll bomb once every few months.
And it's the entertaining part. We get to entertain people, and the payoff of that is like way more powerful of a tidal wave than the power of getting rejected. Is that what you're saying?
Absolutely.
I've only been rejected a few times, so I shouldn't. Like in my life, people don't tell me no. No, I don't. Yeah, no, that's tough, man. Because I don't know. I think I would try to wire myself to be like, well, if you do start bombing, then like enjoy it. And like some of those sick mofos, like Strip Mall Steve.
Did he want to bomb?
I think he wanted to, and then he shifted. Like, I mean, there's a lot of things he had discussed that he of doing. Come on, his sister has won multiple Grammys, and she's one of the lead writers for John Oliver on HBO.
You think he ran his set by her? Absolutely, right?
I think so. I think he had to have.
Yeah, and he's very. I mean, he writes the songs that he writes are funny.
Yeah.
The guy can write
He's
jokes.
a funny guy. Like, there's talent there. He went for a high concept McDonald's bit on the playground of McDonald's bit from long ago.
Oh, yeah.
Which was like, again, in this day and age of short attention spans, too. Do you think about that? Like, with comedy? Because I think it is. I mean, they want us doing radio this way. Like, TikTok radio. Like, quicker stories.
Bang, bang, bang.
Not 20 minutes on one subject, And I'm like, well, how do we get to the deeper, I think what part of our station, it feels like a podcast experience.
Yeah.
What do you think about that? Because the attention spans are getting worse.
I don't do a ton of, at the beginning, I like my jokes come quick, right? Like to just kind of get you in there and so I can have some laughter. I usually will have something that has it, I know is going to get laughs pretty easy.
Just getting some equity.
Yeah. And then it just depends on how long of a set I'm doing. If I'm doing 45 minutes, my jokes it's going to be more of a story. There's going to be like an arc to it.
Yeah.
And everything like that. But when I'm doing like 10-minute sets or 7-minute sets, like when you do like a showcase, I'm not doing long jokes at all. I'm just like getting all my short stuff in there because they don't have time to get to know me.
Yeah. No, that's interesting. Do I think about it? Because, I mean, I still like, I was talking to Mike Zeroy about this morning, or maybe it was Friday. I don't never know what day it is. But we were talking about, so I mean, look, we're on there 4 hours. We do 8 segments a day, 20-minute segments, 25-minute segments sometimes. And, some of these are just sports. You're not always just trying to it's not 4 hours of, hey, we're trying to make you belly laugh the entire time.
Yeah.
But we really are, like, trying to have a good joke per minute, situation. Sometimes it happens naturally. A lot of times it happens naturally. Sometimes it is somewhat planned. I can kind of like try to take a carrot and try to lead them to a certain place. But he was talking about, he's like, like the amount of jokes. And he always accuses me of having mid-level jokes. He's like, you get a lot of points, but your field goal percentage is not very high. And I was like, that's an interesting way to put it. But it said, you're scared to shoot the shot to save your stats.
You're the Allen Iverson of the morning show.
Yeah.
Like you're a volume shooter.
Yeah, I was like, I'll just shoot them, and then you guys can just have a lot of fun going 4 for 4. And it's just us, picking on each other because those guys make me freaking laugh every day.
I mean, y'all station is very unique.
Yeah.
Right? It does. I think that was a good way that you described it, it does feel like a podcast
I think so.
in some aspects of it. And I think that that's great because that's what people want to listen to.
Yeah, right.
You know, I don't want to hear the same topic over and over and over and over again and just like beating a dead horse. It seems like it's people that like each other and have a good time. And sometimes y'all start with a topic and then it turns in that same segment, it goes into a completely different direction.
Yeah, which is always when it gets fun.
And that's what a normal conversation is.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I don't go and have a conversation with like my buddies and be like, we're going to, nope, we got to get back to this topic, guys. If it changes subjects, we change the subject.
It's weird. This is something we're like battling too. Like you're trying to like cast like a huge wide net and invite as many people in as possible. Well, here's the thing though. Strangers, like we have people that listen to us and they're loyal and they're dug in. How do you get strangers to listen to you and care about what you're talking about if they don't know you? And that's where you have this like challenge. How do you grow something? I think online and social media probably, which hurts your soul a little bit. How do you grow it? Better. That should be what you do, is grow something better, right? You're growing it with like quality content, not me throwing up mid-level jokes. Like quality content. And then also you're like, oh, our ratings aren't very good right now. So how do we grow it faster? And then what's more important? Growing it faster or staying out of the doghouse, you know, of your boss, or finding a way to get ratings. You know, like it's all a big struggle to figure out in this day and age, because how are people listening to things? I don't know. We give, and I don't know of any other station that does this. If they do, I don't know. We podcast
Everything.
and post our full show, like 8 segments, all set up in 20, 25-minute chunks right after the show. So if you're a normal human, what do? Well, I don't have time to listen to that right now. Or you have options. You're listening to something else because I know I can listen to those guys later. And normal people goes, well, when I'm planning on listening to something later, what do? I don't get to it sometimes.
Yeah.
So like I'm sitting here wondering, like, are we doing a disservice by posting the full show? Are we hurting ourselves by taking away the urgency to listen to us live? Like, I don't know. I don't know the answer. I've always had this question, and you super serve your fans, what you should do, and that's what we do, and post the whole show.
You guys, I mean, I'm sure do they look at podcast download numbers? Is that like do people care? Do advertisers look at that? Is that like,
Not to the point that you would expect, I think, right now. I think that's probably coming.
Mm-hmm.
I'm surprised it hasn't. Or I say that, but radio's not like there's people talk about radio the way they talk about newspapers. And that's reality. I've had to accept this. So yeah, no, they don't.
Well, it's going to take like innovative people to look at it, right? Like, because like I'm in sales. I've been in sales my entire adult life, and if I'm a good salesperson and I'm going to someone that is selling ads, I'm showing them those podcast numbers.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, listen, I hand up, I don't listen to live ever.
Yeah,
and honestly, the real reason why that is not because it's like I don't use it because of the reason how you said like, oh, I can listen to that later. It's more because during the day I'm busy.
Yeah.
And I don't want to miss half of it. I don't want to like, I'm sitting at my desk working. I don't want to have it on in the background and not actually hear. I can't pause it if someone calls me. But if I'm working and doing something and I'm listening to the podcast and something distracts me, I can pause it and I can get back to where I was at.
Sure.
So that's how
I think it's like one of the cool human tricks that our biggest competition they're not our competition. They're just another radio station. But the legacy station in this market is The Ticket. Is they got in bed with the Dallas Morning News, and they have this awesome app that you can pause and you can rewind an hour.
Oh, really?
Like you can just like pause.
It's like DVR, like it's like a DVR type basically.
And I'm like, what's the workaround there? Like, how do you get credit for that? I truly don't know. But like, you know, our app doesn't do that. But like, it's all going in these different ways. So as long as you have it, give it to your audience no matter what. Like that's the end-game philosophy, and I do believe in that. But I also believe in urgency. And it's like, okay, well, not every day are you going to have something urgent. Otherwise, you're just exhausting and overselling.
Absolutely. You can't just be like, last time, tickets are almost sold out. Like it's like if you had Christmas every single day, your kids would get tired of it.
Yeah, absolutely. So you get a customer like, do not miss this. Well, that's over teasing, and that's too much.
Yeah.
And it's not natural. Like, it's just not how, it's not what any of us are about, So it's like interesting. It's interesting times everywhere. Like media companies. Mark Cuban sold the Mavericks. His comments were interesting. Like big media companies are collapsing. And I went, uh-oh, like, that's not great. But it's kind of true. And, he's been wrong on stuff before. He's been right on a lot of stuff, too. I never thought he would ever sell the Mavs.
I didn't either. I thought he was going to be, I thought we were going to have like another Jerry Jones. Like, it was going to be like a family.
Sure. And he's like, nah, if I sell it now, I'll get a bunch of money. And my kids probably don't want it or haven't put themselves in a position to be ready for it. Then I'll just take the money, and then we'll build a Venetian.
Yeah, but he still owns, what does he own, 30% or something?
Yeah.
Yeah, he still owns a very large
pretty incredible
chunk of it, and he's in charge of all basketball decisions. Yeah. So he's still the Maverick. He's still the face of the Mavericks.
No doubt.
No one's going to know, unless you're like really deep into caring about NBA owners, no one thinks of who are the Adlers? Is that what their name is? Something like that?
The Adelsons?
Adelsons, yeah. No one, not a lot of people are going to know who that is.
No.
It's kind of even like when Nolan was the owner of the Rangers.
Yeah, that was weird.
He wasn't really the owner of the Rangers. He just was part of the team.
Yeah.
But he got all the shine.
He's like showed up at noon every day. He's like, I'm kind of the guy still. I'm Nolan.
I'm Nolan Ryan. There's a statue out here. For whatever reason, the Ranger fans are obsessed with me, even though like I had 3 seasons here and they were at the end of my career.
I whipped ass. That's what happened.
I punched a man.
I beat the ass of a guy 20 years younger than me.
Did he have a Rangers no-hitter?
Yeah. I think he had 2, actually.
And then he had...
I think 6 and 7 were with the Rangers.
Okay.
And then 5,000 strikeouts.
Yeah, so he did have some good moments for the Rangers.
Yeah.
I just always, like, when people were like, he's the best Ranger ever. No, he's maybe the best person, had the best career of someone that wore a Rangers uniform.
Yeah, maybe.
But he's not the greatest Ranger ever.
No.
Some
of those numbers, too. Boy, tell you what, you want to get Texans in your crosshair, start crapping on Nolan.
I love Nolan Ryan, but he's just not my top Texas Ranger.
Yeah. The Rangers won the World Series, and the top moment in franchise history, the top 2 moments in franchise history are haymakers. It's actually uppercuts, and then
you think Rugi's in the top 2?
It's the top 2. It's incredible.
I think
those are the ones. Like, there's the highlight reel. End it. You don't see anything else.
Rugi might be number 3, and I think the A-Rod strikeout, Game 6 of the ALCS 2010.
That should be number 1, but
I think
not in
number
Texas.
2. I think Robin Ventura is number 1. And then, that's fun.
You know the joke about you're in a bar in Lubbock, I think?
Whether you suffer from allergy symptoms like sneezing, coughing, itchy eyes and throat, runny nose, asthma, more severe respiratory issues, or even cancer, poor indoor air quality has been directly linked to your overall health. Take control of the air you breathe today. Contact Steven of Fresh Air Matters for more. Fresh Air Matters has everything you need to clean the indoor air before you breathe. Go to freshairmatters.com/air purifiers and use my promo code PASVAR, that's PASVAR, at checkout to receive a special discount on all air purification products. Go to freshairmatters.com or call or text at 469-469-1852. That's freshairmatters.com or call or text at 469-469-1852.
Or way out in West Texas.
Oh, my joke? Yeah.
That crowd, their top 2 Texas Ranger moments are the punches.
100%. Yeah, they're like that's
the violence.
That was made for them.
It's not the violent crack of the bat of Nelson Cruz hitting a home run in Game 6 of the ALCS. Okay, I would never.
I don't.
It's gone now.
I don't fault Nelson Cruz that much.
Me neither.
I fault Washington for that. Ron Washington more for that. Like, you have the lead, take your DH out and put a defensive replacement in the game.
Indy Chavez.
But
it's all gone. The ghost is gone, right? It doesn't matter anymore, right? Does it feel good?
It feels good, but it doesn't feel the same.
Dude, I went to the place. I went to the exact place that it happened in 2011 at the Barley House. There's a stump. A stump. It's like a pillar, okay, and the outside bar. And I was like, we're going to go watch the game tonight. And it was Game 6 of the World Series. We're going to watch the game. We're going to the Barley House where this happened 12 years ago. And I leaned back against this pillar, just standing up, and watched that game, and we won the World Series. And I felt all the demons were just exorcised. It was incredible. They were running around like the end of the movie Ghost.
Man, it felt good,
Creepy.
but it didn't feel the same. And I blame Bally Sports for that.
Okay, you're one of the... Yeah, no, I agree.
Because
we weren't all in on it together.
No, because I watched box scores all season. I didn't watch the games. I
Yeah.
just watched the box score and would check ESPN. So I knew all the players, but I didn't know them.
Well, this is exactly how I feel about TV. Like, we do not watch TV as a community anymore.
No, absolutely.
We
Because
just...
I can binge everything.
I can binge it. I can watch it whenever.
I can watch Suits 7 years
Like,
later.
I'll just never forget standing on my couch, putting a foam finger on as Breaking Bad is ending, and we all watched it together as a nation.
Well, do you remember? Did you watch Friends growing up?
Yeah.
The finale of Friends was like a social thing.
Yeah.
We went to one of my friend's house. There was like 35 of us that watched that show together. The finale, like it was like a
Friends
huge
party.
thing. But yeah, like they don't do that anymore.
No, not happening. And it sucks. We need to do things together, even when we have. And this was the Super Bowl's the only that is. Danny Bayless said it this morning. He said that is America, like all at once, getting shoved in your face, all of it. Like we are going to have troops, corporations, agendas being pushed on you.
Religion. They got religion in there now.
4 hours, cram it all in there. Football, the one thing we can all agree on, cram it all in there and just shove it at you.
And
it's great.
Usually really good entertainment in the middle of it.
You're so tired when it's over.
It's
You're
a
like,
great
all of
night.
that, and I couldn't pee. I wanted to watch every commercial just because they just threw it all at us. It's
I know
great.
my kids stayed up late last night just because they're Swifties.
Yeah.
They were all in.
They were all in. Was that enough Swiftie cam?
Yeah, they got excited every time they showed her.
I would have paid a little extra. I paid like $3 for like a Swiftie cam just up in the corner.
Yeah, they should have done that like what they do like the Manning cast. Like, you know how like in the national championship of college football, they'll have like on ESPN 3,
Yeah.
they have like Nick Saban talking during the game.
6 coaching legends.
Yeah.
And there's like, here's what we should have done on this play. And they can't stop. They're missing live action because they're still breaking down the replay.
Yeah, they should have had a Swiftie cam during that. I would have watched that telecast.
That's kind of crazy, right? This Taylor Swift thing's kind of crazy, right?
It's insane. I've never seen anything like it. It's kind of fun though.
So I work with JJ Jackson, who works with us too. She is the world's biggest Beyonce fan, and she does kind of have it out against Taylor.
Oh, she doesn't like Taylor. When I was on the show with them, I said,
yeah.
When I was on the show with them, during when y'all were on vacation.
Yeah, Bad Bees. What do we call that show?
Yeah, 3 bad bitches and a side of Steve. And then it grew to one day to 4 bad bitches.
Yeah.
It was. I said that I think you got to start putting her in the GOAT conversation. And she got so mad off air, like during break. She's like, the ghost of what? GOAT of what? And I was like, I said, I don't know. And you're very you're very excited about this. So I'm just gonna.
It's to the point, there's also it's wildly gotten. Okay, I don't know what's going to happen, right? This is 2024 is already, I knew it. You could tell 5 days into the year, this is going to be the weirdest year we've ever had. And we're just getting started. We're just getting going. It's already there's already a weird, political thing now. And I'm like, okay, I don't know if it's that deep. It's
the conservatives hate her.
It's just a pop star, man. It's not that deep. But JJ's very interesting because huge Beyonce fan. And I've tried to explain to JJ, here's the difference. And it's not that much of a difference. The difference is Taylor is a little bit younger than Beyonce. And that's all it is. Because Beyonce was treated the same way as Taylor's being treated now.
But
8
without
years ago.
social media. Without the rise of the social media. And the difference is, I'm not going to say that. The difference, Taylor, I think, is spanning a more generations.
Yeah, okay.
Because there's no little kids that I know of that are part of the Beehive.
Yeah, I guess.
But there's my daughters are in 1st grade and 4th grade, and she's the biggest deal in that school, and then there's also 35-year-old, 40-year-old women that are. She's a big deal too.
Sure.
You know what I mean? And it's just like this massive.
But there's also like a wild, culture divide there. Like the other day, JJ said something. She's like shaking her head. I was like, "You just gotta get used to it, JJ. You're working with 3 old white men. like it's gonna be a little different. Like what's on our algorithms is gonna be different. Like when we were talking about doing a story like months ago on the records Taylor's tour's doing, and JJ's like, well, Beyonce's tour has made more money than Taylor's has. And I was like, I'm not hearing anything about Beyonce's tour. And she's like, yeah, because she's overseas, but I'm seeing clips of it every day. On her timeline, she is. I'm not.
Great. Nothing to take away from Beyonce, but I went to the Eras tour, okay? And that girl, I'm looking at it from a performer's aspect. I'm not a singing and a dancing when I stand up for 30 minutes.
Standing and talking.
And I talk. And this girl sang for 3 hours and 30 minutes. She didn't take a drink of water the entire time. Like, I don't know how that's possible. She's barely off stage for like costume changes. She's off stage for like a minute tops. I went and saw, you see other big time, like I know you don't like Ed Sheeran, but I love Ed Sheeran.
I love Ed Sheeran.
And the guy drinks like 7 water bottles during his show. And like, just out in front of you.
He'll
drink.
Pee himself.
I don't know. He just drinks and whatever. And he's moving around and everything like that, but he's not performing for 3 hours and 30 minutes.
Yeah.
And it's just hit after hit after hit.
I watched the movie. That's the thing, though. I haven't seen the Renaissance tour, and I haven't.
I'm sure it's amazing.
The Renaissance tour movie.
I might have to,
because they weren't showing it enough near me. Otherwise, I would have gone.
I'm sure it'll come to the streaming platform soon.
Yeah, it will, and we'll check that out. And Beyonce's about to drop a country album. That's going to be pretty dope. I bet.
There you go.
Everyone loves Beyonce. Like that's the whole thing. Like I think they can all.
There's no beef between them.
Why do so many people hate Taylor? Because no one hates Beyonce.
No one hates Beyonce. A lot of people hate Taylor.
Which is weird. And that's weird to me. Like it's the only thing I would say, the only thing that has ever bothered me about Taylor is that just, she was brought up to be a country star.
Yeah, which is
and
interesting.
then the switch happens, and then her voice did change.
Uh-huh.
She sang like a little country girl, and then she switched to pop. Oh, that's never how you really sang. But you could evolve.
Well, that's what I'm wondering is, has she done the Taylor's? I should know this because my entire life is Taylor Swift right now.
Mm-hmm.
Has she done the Taylor's version of the old country songs?
I don't care.
Like, no,
I don't know.
You know how like she goes and she re-records her stuff and puts them out.
Yeah.
She doesn't know the masters to them.
Yeah.
I'm wondering when she goes and re-records them, is she going to sing country? Like, is she going to have the twang back, or will she sound like today's Taylor?
Yeah. You have to sound like yourself now. You can't go back and mimic that. But maybe she's not doing that one because maybe it happened before the next record deal with Scooter Braun.
I don't know.
And Big Machine Records.
Yeah.
I truly don't know.
It's just interesting.
It's fascinating. Like the world does want to pit 2 women against each other. Yeah, we grew up watching Celebrity Deathmatch. Like, I'm sorry. And it was awesome, right? Claymation ripping each other's guts out. I'm sorry.
That was a pretty awesome thing.
I don't like a Beyonce versus Taylor thing doesn't do anything for me except for the juice, because I was sitting there last night going, okay, Beyonce's dropping new music. She's left everyone, the Verizon commercial happens after the Usher show, and you're kind of looking around going, okay, she's dropping new music. Okay, where's it at? Hadn't hit the apps yet. Waiting, break the internet, waiting. And then she announces that it's coming out on March 29th, and I'm like, yo, drop it the same day Taylor drops hers so we can get some resolution to this.
I know. Let's get
find out.
If we're going to have a competition, let's have a competition, ladies. But they're not competing against each other. They don't dislike each other.
And that's my stupid team sports mentality, which is dumb and I shouldn't have. But I'm like, hire Bill Belichick so we can see if it was Tom or Bill all these years. Let's hire him and then, get rid of McCarthy. Let's say if he does it with Dak, then we know.
Yeah. Or put him in Tampa. See if he can win one with the Bucs.
Yes. Give him a quarterback, though.
He's
that's
got a quarterback in Tampa.
Well,
your
guy Baker.
I love me some Baker.
Baker's kind of fun.
Baker's good. He's a fun guy to watch.
Yeah.
I
give him credit, dude. I thought he was done.
I just think he was just hurt.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I don't want to get off the Taylor thing too much. Like, I don't get to talk about Taylor because I'm scared to talk about her.
Talk about her.
Because I don't think Mike and Danny want to talk about her too much. And JJ, I don't even want to bring up Taylor's name around JJ.
Yeah.
Because JJ's like...
I was scared during the commercial break when I brought her up.
And then it starts all these, like, conversations. And, like, I don't even want to, like, fight about it. Too.
Yeah, I don't care that much.
Like, I really don't.
I just like her because my daughters do.
Yeah.
Like, you know,
like sometimes if I'm feeling just a little bit of, if I'm being a little bit of a stinker, I might, like, you know, just to poke her a little bit, you know. But now I do think it doesn't work out here with our guy Travis. I do think all these boys are just effing fuel. And think about that as a comedian or anyone in the creative industry. You're always looking for something that does propel you to the next idea, to the next thing. And I do think that both Taylor and Beyonce have Michael Jordan, LeBron James, Kobe, like
crazy in them,
Dirk, you know, whatever that thing is where it's like, I care about this more than anything else right now, and that's what I'm going to be doing. And that's like, they care about their entertaining, their writing songs, performing.
She looks really happy. Like, she looks pretty.
Okay, but we never saw her with her no-name ex-boyfriend.
There weren't no names. They were just
Joe Alwyn.
They were just nerdy.
Not a household name. Owl City guy.
Harry, was that who he was? The Owl City? Like Firefly? Jason Firefly?
Yeah. I think, and I could be wrong, Swifties. I don't know. You're going to post this to the Swiftie Nation.
Oh, 100%.
I think, maybe I get them mixed up, but she did cheat on, she cheated on Calvin Harris with Tom Hiddleston, allegedly.
Well,
I don't want to get sued.
And her and Harry Styles, they did.
They allegedly might have killed someone.
Might have killed someone. That's what the getaway car might be about. Yeah. You know? I don't know. I just made that up. But
no,
there is. I did a full segment on that.
I did a full segment on that whole album.
I did a deep dive on TikTok about it one day, and I was telling my wife about it. She's like, that's not a thing. I just started sending her links. I was like, it's a thing.
It's a thing.
There's people think it.
Well, dude, one of my favorite things is the Killer's Murder Trilogy. Like, I'm not saying they did it, but there's a story there that they know about.
I don't.
Allegedly.
Here's the thing. I think it could end bad for Travis. I don't think he breaks her. If someone's heart gets broken, I think his heart gets broken.
Yeah, he retires.
You know, I think because, I don't know, did you see her facial expressions when he was on stage doing the Viva Las Vegas last night?
Yeah.
She started kind of thinking in her head, like, maybe this is...
He did say something that he said, we wanted 3, but to get to 3, you got to get to 2, and we got 2, and now we're going for the repeat. And I was like...
do you listen to his podcast?
Ever? You know, I hear clips here and there. I don't like subscribe to it or anything.
So,
but I like both of those guys.
He's very... Okay, that's maybe an overstatement. He's well-spoken.
Yeah.
He's well-spoken. He's engaging. He's like a real person, and you like want to listen to him. You're like, man, this guy's got a lot of heart, you know, and stuff.
Sure.
But then at the end of games, it's like, get this buffoon off the microphone.
He turns into a wrestling guy.
Yeah, but it's like, you're not that person at all. Because that's what I thought he was. And then the last couple of years, you've seen him, like, you know, did you see his the clip of him getting inducted into his high school Hall of Fame?
No.
So there's like he gets inducted. He got inducted to his high school Hall of Fame, and he's like talking, and he's like tearing up. And it's like, well, this is like a real human being. Why are you doing the Hulk Hogan like heel, WWE heel at the end of games?
He's just cool. That's
he
what's
is,
going on.
He is a pretty cool guy.
He's a cool guy, you know. And we're sitting here going, "What is our life?"
Yeah,
you know. And you know what? Our lives are pretty good.
We got good lives. All right. So name of the podcast is called Back in the Day, right? Talk about different stories from people's days like we do. Focus on one topic every season. This season, we've been focusing on stories from when you got in trouble in the past. Do you have any good stories of the time you got in trouble the worst when you were a kid, like from mom and dad?
Not so here's the thing. I was a pretty good kid.
Okay.
Right? Growing up, pretty good kid, made good grades. If I was held to a high standard. If I made B's, I was grounded. You know, but not too bad. Wasn't too easy. In my school, it's pretty easy to make A's. Really. Just try. You make A's. Turn your papers in. The teachers give you A's in 1st and 2nd grade. 3rd, 4th, 5th, you got to start earning it. And then, you know, then it's like, oh, dang it, now I've set the tone that I got to make A's my whole life. Didn't get in too much trouble until one time I was 16, get the car. You know, thing happens, you get the truck. We're all hanging out. I grew up in a small town, 3,000 people, real tiny. The hangouts were either at the bank, sounds stupid, the bank parking lot, or at the car wash, or at a place. It'd be a Chicken Express here in the city, but there it was called the Chicken Place.
Okay.
So we're in the parking lot of the Chicken Place, hanging out, and there's probably, 75 high school kids, and all just hanging out. Who knows what's happening? Someone might smoke a cigarette. There might have been a beer going around. At the time, I wasn't doing any of that stuff. I was pretty clean at the time. But it had rained, and there's a street. You get out into Main Street, and keep in mind, it's a town where there's never anyone on Main Street, so it's not like there's traffic. You go on Main Street, and curfews are starting to hit for each, and people are spinning their tires, okay? And they're, so it's like, oh, spin him. Oh, he's leaving now. Spin him. So spin him. It's so stupid. So I got there, and I will never forget this. His name's John Paul. He walks up to the window of my truck. He goes, hey, man, you got to spin him. And I'm like, I'm not spinning him, dude. I'm not going to wreck the truck. I don't even know how to spin him. I don't know what you're talking about. He goes, no, just gas it. Just spin them. Like everyone else is spinning them. Just peel out, man. Okay, cool. So I get on Main Street, and then I'm turning right, and then my truck goes on 2 wheels, and then goes back on the other 2 wheels, and then once it corrects and I've swerved, I drill a trash can that is right by the subway. Now, if that trash can's not there, my car probably keeps going into someone's house. So I got pretty lucky. But the trash can, like a dumpster. I said trash can. It's a dumpster.
Yeah.
A huge dumpster.
Stops the
knocks
car.
over. So, you get out of the truck. Like everyone saw it happen. Like, oh, that was awesome. And you're like, oh, crap. I got a big, the front end just whack. It's messed up. And I'm like, okay. I'm going to tell mom and dad here. Yeah, I think we played. So I come, everyone walks over and says, someone think of an excuse real quick. And my buddy Mark Payne goes, tell him you were swerving to miss a dog. And I was like, anyone else? Anyone else? Everyone's just kind of, they're all freaking out about it. I'm like, no, I don't have anything. So I go home and tell my parents that I swerved to miss a dog, and no one bought it, of course.
No one bought it at all?
Yeah. So I couldn't drive for a while. It sucked.
Why do you think they didn't buy it? They kind of drill you afterwards?
I think it's like, I'm Kevin, I don't know. For some reason, it just wasn't. It wasn't. And if you swerve to miss a dog, how did you hit the dumpster that's in the parking lot of the subway across the street from the Chicken Place? I wish I could show you a layout.
Yeah, because you're not going. If you're in a parking lot, you're not going 40 miles per hour where you have to swerve.
No.
You're going.
But it kind of was like it was a pretty high impact situation.
Did you get Did you get grounded or anything?
I couldn't drive for about a month, if I remember correctly. I had to get the truck fixed too.
You had to pay pay for it and everything.
Pay it back. Oh yeah,
that's the worst, isn't it?
Yeah, it sucks. I'm like, why do I have to pay it back? I don't have any money.
Yeah,
I had a job at the time, but it's like not enough to.
Well, yeah, and that's an entire summer.
Yeah, minimum wage back then was terrible.
You're working and you're like making $1,400 for the entire summer.
If that, yeah.
You're like,
if that
job every single day. What do you have any stories about getting in trouble at school?
Oh boy. Yes. I have 2 that I could tell you. High school and college. I'll be quick. High school, we made the decision at 2. So here's the thing. There was a point where I did discover beer. And I don't know, I just run into people who went to high school beer, smoked drugs. And it's we didn't have drugs in Olney. If we did,
kids weren't
they
doing
did
drugs?
have drugs, but they didn't have like marijuana. It wasn't like it's more like a meth town. Like
so they were just jumping
hard stuff. Yeah,
no one was smoking pot. They were just going from
not really. So it was if that was happening, it was very rare. So I didn't know anything about that world. But beer, and then you get to the point where I kind of knew I played football my senior year because I was like, I guess, but I don't really care. But I'll do it just to be with the guys,
Yeah.
But I didn't want to go to practice every day. So I remember it was 2-a-days, and they made the, coach does the thing where it's like, okay, you're going to go here, and then you're going to jog, kind of around town. You go around the park, and it's a small town, right? But the point is you're kind of leaving campus. So we go off first part of the jog, and then we peel back, and 4 of us decided to go to Allsup's and get some food because we were hungry. And that led to, the SWAT, is we got caught.
That's what do you mean they
we got someone saw us at the Allsup's in the truck, right? Like a townsman.
Well, yeah, because everyone is supposed to be running the
Yeah, but how would they know that, right? It's very strange that they would know that. We got told them about someone's mom or something. It was real.
Were you in gear?
I mean, you had like your T-shirt and shorts on. We weren't even to the pads portion of two-a-days.
You think that mom had a kid on the team?
Probably.
That's what
That's
happened.
just, in that town, everyone knows everything about you. You can't misstep. You really can't. And then, college. So I went to UNT. First night of the dorm, I had a couple buddies from that I met at orientation in the dorm, and I had no idea what an RA was in a dorm. Like, how would I know? I don't know. I didn't have an older. I'm the oldest sibling. No one in my family had been to college.
They didn't intro you to the RA when you moved in?
No, not at all. I should get your card, room 323, Clark Hall, go in. So I had taken some beer from my hometown because we had people who would buy it for you. Not my parents, but people who would buy it for you. It was weird. Weirdly, people like affiliated with the school at the time too, who would buy it for you. And so I had all this beer in like suitcases and stuff, and I'm loading up the mini fridge in the dorm. And first night, I mean, dude, school doesn't even start for like another 5 days. But we got there early, and we were playing. I'll never forget. We were playing the college baseball game on PlayStation, like PlayStation 2, and they heard some clinks, and he had a knock on the door. And it's a guy named Jonathan. He's like, "Hey, I heard a clink." I was like, "Yeah, come in. You want a beer?" He goes, "Oh no, I'm your RA." I said, "Oh, cool. Yeah, man, come on in." He goes, "I'm gonna have to ask you to pour all those out." And I was like, "The hell, I'm not." And then I was like, he had to explain to me what an RA was, and then he pours all these beers, and I'm like, dude, it was a bunch down the sink. And then I was on probation, so I had to go meet with like an assistant dean or something, and they gave you some like drunk course, And I was like, man, I didn't even know. Like, I was just living on my own. I didn't know.
And school hasn't even really started yet.
No. I was like, there are far worse things happening than this college baseball game going with these three virgins. Like, we weren't causing any problems, Like, geez.
You know what's funny about that is I went to a junior college in West Texas before I went to OU, and we didn't have RAs in our dorms. We had dorm moms.
What?
Yeah.
That sounds dangerous.
Yeah, so we had these ladies that sat at the front desk of our dorms at the very bottom floor, and they would walk the floor of the dorms like periodically every hour or whatever.
Did they call themselves that, or
that's what they were called? That's what they weren't. That was their official title, the dorm moms.
That's not.
Yeah, and so you couldn't. And we shared. It was just one big building, but like on one side of it was the girls' side, and then the boys were on the other side. Yeah. And so if you had like a girl in your room, say I wanted to have a girl in my room, she had to go in and sign in at the dorm mom desk, like a reception desk almost, and give her ID. So she give her ID, and they had to be out of your room at like 12. So at like 11:50, they'd call you, and they'd be like, "Hey, remember you got so and so in your room? They need to come down." And then at 12, they'd come knocking on doors.
They need to make a documentary about dorm moms.
Yeah, it was crazy.
That had such potential to go bad.
It was so stupid, dude. Like, they would come to our. I remember like the first weekend before school starts. You say you get there like 4 or 5 days early,
and you're excited,
and you're just like living life, right? And those are free days. Like, you know what I mean? Like, think about it.
I never embraced them.
You don't know what you're doing.
No,
it's like bonus days.
I have a clue.
You're playing baseball on the PlayStation. You got your beers from your hometown. We're just same thing. We're just drinking in those dorms, but we had them in burger cups.
Okay,
so they never caught us.
No clink.
Yeah. And then we would drink in the parking lot.
Yeah. See, that's where it's. I had such a problem with meeting people, but I think a part of the reason I had a problem meeting people, like I turned very introverted that first year of college, because the small town does not prepare you for classes. Like, your normal class is more people than I graduated high school with, but also I literally within hours of being at college got slapped on the wrist.
Yeah.
And like handed a paper, like, you have to go to this counseling.
Well, you and I did.
I thought I was getting kicked out of school. You don't know anything.
Yeah, you and I did the opposite.
Yeah.
I went from Dallas to Snyder, Texas, and you went from Olney to Dallas, or UNT, and that's a big jump.
No, it's too big.
Mine was a big jump the other way. I thought I was in another country.
Wasn't ready for it.
No, it was terrible. But all right, Kevin, dude, been a lot of fun.
Thanks for having me, dude.
Where can people find you? Plug your stuff.
Oh my God. On the stuff, I'm at KT Fun Tweets, but like it's not Twitter anymore, so it's weird. It's KT Fun Tweets on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. I mean, and I'm on The Freak, 97.1 The Freak, 6 to 10 a.m. every morning. I also do a podcast on The Athletic called About Them Cowboys, because you need to keep your side hustles going in this world. So I do that as well. And then you can probably find me asleep somewhere, usually. That's normally where you'll find me.
Sweet. Well, guys,
Sleeping.
make sure you check out KT on all the different sites. But more than that, listen to his show every single day, 6 to 10 on 97.1 The Freak or the iHeartRadio app.
Oh,
if
yeah,
you're not in DFW, right?
Yeah.
Listen to him.
Spotify, too. We put all the podcasts up on Spotify.
Yeah.
So grab them. It's called
called
The Downbeat.
The Downbeat. Make sure you check it out. You can follow me on Instagram at Michael Pasvar. You can check out michaelpasvar.com for show dates. This will come out, I think, next week. I don't know shows off the top of my head, but just go to the website. You'll see them. Make sure you like, subscribe, share the podcast. We'll see you guys next time. Bye now.